However, there is just one requirement: believing that what's out there is possible, available, and achievable to you.
You've already done things in your past that you thought were impossible, so why stop now? Are you ready to take the next best step toward creating a life by design?
Do you feel like there is something more for you, but you're not sure how to get to it?
Welcome to the Momentum Podcast. I'm Molly, your health and mindset coach.
And I'm Lena, your money manifestation coach.
We're here to help women like you, whether you're building a business, scaling a side hustle, or crushing it in your career, take actionable steps towards the life you've always envisioned.
If you're ready to stop playing small and step confidently into the life you're meant to live,
join us on this journey of growth, alignment, and unstoppable momentum. Let's take the next best step together.
If you've ever felt like you're spinning your wheels, doing all the things, but going absolutely nowhere, this episode is for you.
Yes, that's right. Whether you're stuck because you don't know what you want or because your vision feels so impossible that you don't even know where to start, we're breaking that all down today. And trust us, getting unstuck is not about forcing your way through. It's about simple shifts that change everything. So if you've ever caught yourself saying, I don't know what I want, but I know I don't want this, or if the dream feels too big to entertain, then stay with us because today we're giving you the tools to stop overthinking and start moving. So I'm so excited to talk about this. The first area that we're going to dive into is if you are stuck without a vision. This is, hey, I don't know what I want, but I know I don't want this, right? Has anybody ever been there? I know I've been there. Lena, you've been there too, right? So this is like trying to use a GPS to navigate, but you didn't plug in the address. So you're burning fuel going nowhere, right?
Amen.
Yes, you're putting in the work, or you feel like you're putting in the work, you're spinning your wheels, probably literally, but there's no real destination, right? So I want to just, Lena, I want to turn it over to you. Why don't you share a story about where you felt this way in your corporate career?
Absolutely. And it's so funny when you asked, if anybody was there, and the first thought in my mind was like, I paid rent there. Like that was my space. I owned that. But honestly, I have to be completely transparent. It's fun to talk about it in retrospect, but when you're in it, it's a very confusing feeling because it doesn't actually show up holding like that big banner saying, hey, I'm stuck. You just constantly feel like you're in a fog, like you're running through molasses. And it's very disheartening for somebody who has spent years studying and then years climbing the corporate ladder. And then all of a sudden you catch yourself, it's 10 o'clock at night, you're in bed, lights are off, you're on your phone, and you're like scrolling through social media and like you see those inspirational posts, not like those.
Oh, absolutely.
And you're like, love, love, love. And then you're like, okay, like, why am I loving somebody else's quotes instead of living that life? That was me, you guys, like full transparency. That was me when I was in my early 40s and kind of like the poster child of American dream corporate success, right? So at that time, I'm married. I have 2 children. We own a beautiful home, great cars. I work from home, making multiple 6-figure salary. I have company funded stock. I have a month and a half paid vacation. And I'm like, this is not working for me. And I remember feeling so guilty and so torn that I couldn't even bring myself to talk about it to my own husband. And he's like my best friend. We've been married for like over 20 years at that time. And I'm like, how can I like in my right mind come and be like, Vlad, listen, this sucks. I want out. Out where? right? So I think that is the scary part where, yes, that initial self-assessment and awareness is good, but then you're like, and now what?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what's interesting is that not knowing what you want doesn't actually mean you're lost. It just means you're on the journey to find out.
Oh, so good.
Right.
Where
Right.
were you 10
Yeah.
years ago?
Well, yeah. I mean, hindsight is 2020. With age comes wisdom, but you're not failing. You're just in limbo. And I think that society really normalizes you're in it. This is your life. It's just the way it is. But is it really?
Molly, oh my God. I remember, like, so my son graduated high school last year. He's a freshman in college. And at
Yeah.
the graduation party, I heard people say this shit. Yeah, I'm going to say that. Said that shit to him over and over. Welcome to the grown-up life. Prepare your days to suck. And I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Like, we are literally conditioning our young adults to expect that now you're going to get into the grind, into the daily routine, into that climb, into that chase. Like,
Yeah.
wait, what?
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, it's all a lot of us have known, right? But there is a different way. And if you're stuck in that space where you don't know what you want, but you know you don't want this, let's talk about how to pivot. So how to pivot starts with gaining clarity. So if you don't know what you want, then let's start with the contrast. Lena likes to talk about the law of contrast. It is a thing. It is a thing. So start with what you don't want. So what drains you? What feels like a have to versus a get to? I don't want to feel stuck in uninspired or exhausted. So then think about, okay, what's the logical opposite? And girl, I love me some logical opposites. Love me some logical opposites. So the logical opposite of that could be, I want to feel energized and motivated and excited about my work, right? So if you're not sure what you want, then think about what you don't want and then take the logical opposite.
That makes so much sense. And you know what? It is actually such a simple shift. One thing I would caution you is don't immediately jump into the freaking how. Okay? Because that how is such a showstopper and you immediately start talking yourself out of it. But the good thing is that I was doing this mind work at like midnight. So I wasn't working like on all cylinders. And so literally I was like, okay, so this is everything I hate. What would I love? And I literally thought about like a day in a life that I designed. And it wasn't like me sipping martinis on a yacht. Like, actually, don't give two shits about it. But it was about being my own boss and having my own schedule and actually like not needing an hour to make $300-400. Because like it sounds so amazing when you're in a consulting gig. It's like $300 an hour, and I'm like, or you can make $7,000 an hour. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the coolest part was, I was like, if I can design my life, then I can show others how it can be done. Because I want other people to want the life I have.
Well, and you've built your entire business around a life by design. So you've done it, and you're showing others, this one included, how to do it. So again, the pivot also, so if you don't know what you want, get very clear on what you don't want, and then find that logical opposite. The next thing is to follow your energy. And this has been such a game changer for me over the last year. What excites you even a little, right? Notice what topics or ideas or that make you curious or light you up. Your energy is a compass. Follow what lights you up. Okay. The next thing is experiment without commitment. You don't have to have it all figured out today. Try something new. Follow a small interest. Say yes to something that feels different. The bottom line here, friends, is that you don't need a 5-year plan to move forward. You just need a spark, right?
One next step. I have this amazing coach that I love from the bottom of my heart, who also happens to be my bestie. One next step.
That's right. That's exactly right. Okay. So maybe it's the kind of second scenario we're going to talk through. Maybe you have a vision, but it feels impossible.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there are a lot of us have been in that category. So think about, is that you? You have a vision, but it feels so big, it's paralyzing and you don't know where to start. Maybe the first thought you have is like, what are the chances that I could actually pull this off? And so maybe there's some self-doubt, maybe there's some questioning of your sanity, maybe it feels like the thinking about it's a waste of time, like daydreaming. And I think we don't do enough daydreaming as adults. Kids are so brilliant at it, but daydreaming actually is a good thing, right? We don't want to camp out there. Like we want to be able to daydream about things of that are possible that you want to create. But here's the deal. If you don't know where to start, sometimes when we're stuck like this, we don't start at all. So let's talk about how to pivot out of that being stuck, feeling like it's impossible.
That is such a real life scenario because many times we will so effectively talk ourselves out of doing something just because we're over here and what we want is over there, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
I don't know why we think it must be a step away. Like it could be 100 steps, and that means you need to move just teensy bit. And eventually, if you keep moving, you're going to get there.
Right.
However, there is just one requirement: believing that what's out there is possible, available, and achievable to you.
Yeah.
And to your earlier point, that you actually want it. I can't tell you how many times already owning my business, all of a sudden I would hit this income plateau and I'll be like, why can I not like break through this muck? And then it hit me that I was starting to associate that next level of income with being rich. And the experience that I had around rich people was very stereotypical. Like I come from middle class, all my best friends are from middle class. And so rich people were like those crazies who would like party ugly and throw money at, like just stupid stuff. And their kids would be like, potheads and all of that. And I was like, okay, if I hit that revenue goal, that means I have to hang out with them. I don't want to hang out with them. Like, I don't want to go to Monaco. Like, I don't want to. I want to eat my weight in pasta through Italy. And then finally, right, it hit me like, actually, I don't have to be that particular stereotype. Like, making more money has nothing to do with me having to drive Porsche. If I love a good Honda, I can be
absolutely.
It was such a huge mind shift. And I bet like people listening going like, wow, girl, you're so in your head. Yes. And so are many people.
Yes, absolutely. Well, and that's interesting because that is a fear that you had to break through in order to get unstuck and elevate to the next level. If you are in a place where you're trying to figure out, okay, can I actually do this? I want you to actually look for proof in your past. Did you ever think that you would be where you are now? Now, Lena and I are in our late 40s, right? Now, back when I was in my early 20s, just starting out, did I think that I would be where I am right now? Absolutely not, right? You've already done things in your past that you thought were impossible. So why stop now, right? The next thing here is to check your vision. Is it truly yours? And Lena, I want you to talk about this one because I know you see this a lot in your coaching practice. And so talk about that a little bit.
So, I talk about that a lot because I lived it, right?
Yeah.
Just even the example of me shying away from growing my business because I was interpreting that as me having to shift into a certain layer, a certain class, a certain clique of people that I didn't feel connected to. Was such an interesting awakening. And also full body realization that money is just a building block. And when you have those building blocks, you get to build the house that you want,
That's right.
right? It's literally like if you have all this construction materials, it is entirely up to you and your blueprint what you're going to create out of it. You don't have to live in this ginormous colonial if you want this type of a range, right? So a lot of times in business, when people come to me and they say, well, I want to hit this number, per month or per year, per quarter, whatever. My question is always, what will it give you?
Right.
And I listen carefully for what people say, because if I start picking up on usual cliches, I will push hard for it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If people say, I want to pay, for my kids' education, like one payment, no college fund, like, yes, I totally relate to that, right? But when all of a sudden I start hearing people say, well, I'm going to go on this like really elaborate vacation, like African safari. I'm like, do you like animals? I kid you not. And all of a sudden the person's like, well, actually, I'm a little freaked out about the experience. Like, and I'm like, so why do you want to go on African safari? Like, what would you actually want? And the person was like, I want to rent a cabin in the mountains and go off the grid for a month. I'm like, okay, that's not African safari. What's so freaking ever? But now I can totally see your vision. Let's go. I'm going to get you there.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Okay. The next way we can pivot out of being stuck because it feels so impossible is to stop forcing the how. And friends, we've talked about releasing the how and how difficult that is, particularly for women. And so if you are in that space where you are prescribing exactly how that needs to happen, you are actually limiting the possibilities. So I love this. Please tell us a story about your daughter, Lena, because it's so good. And it proves this point just beautifully.
Anna is my forever case study. So I have a daughter, she's 15, and I use her in my coaching all the time because she is a naturally born intentional manifester, and also she's very human. So even though we are working on perfecting her skills, she does plenty of sloppy manifestations, which makes her such a beautiful real life scenario for me to use. And I do that ad nauseum. So she is on a competitive swim team for her high school. And while she is a very solid swimmer, she never really talked about herself as being fast or being competitive or being somebody who is going for, a podium or a medal or anything like that. In fact, she would talk about being a social kicker, in it for the girlfriends, loving pasta parties. So a huge emphasis on the social component. And if you ever met Anna, she's that social butterfly. Like, she cares deeply. She wears her heart on her sleeve. She doesn't have any filters. Like, she's the life of the party. So this year, we noticed pretty early in the season that the likelihood of her qualifying for the season and districts was starting to feel a little elusive.
Oh gosh. Okay.
And I could tell the energy getting really tense and thick, like you could cut it with a knife. And what I noticed her doing is really locking in on one specific swim event that used to be her strongest suit. Well, something happened this year, like she grew, her body changed, and she wasn't performing well in it. And I literally noticed how she was prescribing the how and cutting off all opportunities for the universe because it was becoming this or nothing. Mm-hmm. So we had to do the pivot and be like, what is your intention? What would you love? Yeah. And we had to untangle it from being, I am going to qualify for districts swimming this event, to I am swimming in districts. Because just qualifying doesn't actually mean that you get to swim. You can be an alternate. So we had to get very clear on the intention, on the goal. And so she was like, I want to be swimming in districts. Fast forward, She manifested that. We loved it. That was the most welcomed email ever from the coach. Like, crowd went wild. Fun fact, she actually didn't qualify on the event that she was white knuckling.
The original one that she said she wanted to compete in.
Nope.
She qualified for something else.
She thought she was going to swim 500 free. She qualified for 200 IM. And we were like, wait, what? Because for those who are not swimmers, IM means she will swim in one race, all 4 strokes. You know, butterfly, backstroke, breaststroke, free. So, guys, this is the best part. Because normally, like if I was the mom, I would stop here and like we would celebrate and I would give you like my link to make appointments with me because like I'm such a good manifestation coach. This is where it gets wild. Literally a couple of days before districts, I can see her changing the narrative. And all of a sudden, she got so comfortable in this new identity of a district swimmer. She's like, I'm going to come first. And I was like, Toots, there is not enough runway to create the momentum to undo all of the coding that you've been doing for 15 years, saying that you're a social kicker. But I'll watch you. Don't you know it? On the day of the race, I watch her literally take the hose of the energy from the universe and twist it into a kink, immersing into the fear of what if I don't take first?
Right.
He came in 4th. Could she have taken first? Full body, yes. However, our thoughts control our body. Our body will do what our thoughts tell it to do. When she was having fun, when she was like, oh my God, I'm so fast. Look at me. I qualified for districts. The body was like, let's freaking go. Yeah. All of a sudden, she's like, what if I can't? What if I miss the wall? Done. What if I hit my head? Done. And all of a sudden, the brain started processing fears into actions. Ooh. And I watched my girl lead in the first 50 and come in 4th to the finish line.
Wow. And so do you guys see that Anna was holding on to the how in that race and it manifested.
She forgot to have fun.
She forgot to have fun, which is, I love that. I love that when we are having fun, doing what energizes us, what fills our cup, that becomes a place of flow, right? And it gets us out of being stuck. We also what I just want to point out too, is that Anna got very clear about what she wanted. She wanted to be a district swimmer. And we've talked about clarity as well, how important clarity is, and to hold the vision of that, and continue to have fun with it. So you guys, I hope that this has been helpful. If you have been stuck and you're not sure what the vision is, or if you have the vision, but it feels impossible, we've given you a couple of steps that you can take to pivot and take the next best step so that you can create your life by design. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us on the Momentum Podcast today.
We hope this episode inspired you to take your next best step toward building your life by design.
Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and hit that notification bell if you're watching us on YouTube at Momentum Podcast Live.
If you love what you heard, we'd be so grateful if you'd leave us a 5-star review. It helps us reach more amazing people like you and share this content far and wide.
You can also connect with us anytime at contact@momentumpodcast.live for questions, feedback, or just to say hi.
Keep designing the life you want, step by step.
And we'll be here to cheer you on. See you next time on the Momentum Podcast.